Dr. Quincy Raya.
Good morning, esteemed colleagues, partners, and friends. I am privileged to welcome all of you to this gathering that represents the future of medicine. For the past decade, my focus has been on regenerative medicine, moving healthcare beyond just treating illness towards elevating the vitality of my patients' health. Along that road, I have learned and seen the power of medicine to heal. But more importantly, I have learned that true progress is never the work of an individual. It is the result of shared vision, collaboration, and the courage of many who believe in change. No breakthrough belongs to one person. This summit is proof of collective belief and effort. Here, we gather physicians, researchers, innovators, and advocates who are united with one goal, not just to increase the length of life, but to elevate the quality of living itself. Together, we are shaping a future. We're extending the health span beyond 100 years with our loved ones. Is not just a distant hope, but a reality within our reach. As I look back, I am grateful for the difficulties and challenges that have brought us all here together today. As I look forward, I am inspired by the knowledge, passion, and purpose that I see in each one of you. And thank you for being here today. The legacy we are building is not mine, but ours together.
Of Movement Space, a renowned wellness center in Pampanga. Let us now welcome Ms. Lori Sika as she shares her insights on yoga, breathwork, and Pilates.
Good morning, everyone. Pardon my outfit because for the past X number of years, this has been my work clothes. So this is my official work outfit. Okay. Let me start by introducing myself. So my name is Lori. I am a certified yoga teacher for aerial, Ashtanga, Vinyasa, and Hatha Yoga, certified by the Yoga Alliance. I want to continue talking about myself, but this is not about myself. It's about all of us. Okay, so let me proceed with the next slide. So yesterday I did something that I haven't done for the last 5 years since I left corporate. I presented in front of an audience, not in front of yoga students. And I presented yoga. And then pull your shoulders down away from your ears. Think of reaching your fingers down towards the floor. Okay, from here, close your eyes. So even if you're on your shoes or whatever footwear you're wearing, try pressing your toes down towards the ground. Lift your kneecaps as you engage your quads.
Yes, he is the CEO and co-founder of Amylai Singapore, the region's leader in microbiome research. Please welcome Dr. Jeremy Lim, who will be speaking on gut health.
To all of you. It's wonderful to be here, and I'm glad many of you managed to make it despite the rain. So thank you to the MC for the kind introduction. Today I wanted to speak and share some thoughts on good gut health and how this translates to longevity, because this is the theme of this summit around Live Forever. So just some disclosures that my day job is running our own little startup, which is a spin-out from the National University of Singapore, where I still hold a faculty position as well as in Monash and some other things that I do. If you remember nothing else, this is the most important slide. And this explains why good health begins with gut health. When I was in medical...
One of the first physicians in the United States to complete a formal fellowship program in clinical immunology and immunopathology. From Massachusetts General Hospital, let's give our attention to Global Affairs' founder, Dr. Dobry Kiprov, as he shares his expertise on therapeutic plasma exchange.
Good afternoon for you. Nice to have you here. Very exciting presentations. I'll share with you some stuff that I shared last night, and we'll add a few more things. I think the crowd today is somewhat different, so we'll see how we can do that. So, can you see my screen? I assume you can. From ancient time, people
Movement, function, and overall physical health by using exercise manual therapy. He has established a company called Kakayanan Digital Rehab, a company that envisions a future with all Filipinos have the ability to achieve their maximum movement potential at any stage of their life, regardless of their socio-economic status. Up on the stage, let us all welcome Mr. Josh Manorahan.
Hello, good morning to everyone, and it's really nice to be here among all of you and to wrap up this segment of the presentation. I enjoyed listening to our yoga segment, our microbiome segment, and our blood.
is giving another talk.
Yes, that's me. You've probably tried many kinds of treatments. You've tried all the possible diets, all the work. You don't need all these bells and whistles. You know, we can do them, but sustainably, there are things that are already working inside our body, and there are.
Since 2008 and has established Road to 7, a mission of running 7 marathons across 7 continents in 7 days while raising 7 million pesos for the education of unprivileged children from the Sisters of Mary School in the Philippines. Let's warmly welcome Ms. Mench Dizon and her insights on good habits.
Hi everyone, good morning. So I'll talk about little habits and longevity. But less on longevity, it's such a big word. But I'll attempt to talk about the tiny things that get to us having a longer life, hopefully. No? And I will be talking to you not as an expert, but as someone just like you who's also attempting to live a much better version of herself every day. So this is my little talk on little habits. Next slide, please. Do you have a clicker?
40 patients in 4 different groups. They received therapeutic plasma exchange at different intervals, some once a month, some once, actually twice a week for 3 months. So we changed different schedules. Of interest is that one of the groups received intravenous immunoglobulin in a small dose, 2 grams after each procedure. And what we measured was the biologic age. We measured about 6,000 different proteins in the blood, but the most significant finding was the biologic age change in these patients. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with biologic clocks that measure biologic age versus chronologic age. I addressed that yesterday. The biologic clocks are developing very rapidly. We started about 2.5 years ago.
Talk to a doctor online and get your product and the care you wanted without having to go into an uncomfortable situation. In Philippines, the stats are not looking super good for many of these things in the last 20 years. Obesity has increased from, I believe, 20% to 40% of the adult population in 20 years. 1 out of 5.
Talk
about more on how our artificial intelligence or AI-powered retinal screening we call Vision Plus helps us protect not just your sight, but your vision for life. So let me start with some statistics. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, the average life expectancy at birth is about 71 years for men and 77 years for women. That sounds encouraging, but here is the reality. Many Filipinos spend their last 8 to 10 years in poor health, battling chronic diseases, disability, or even loss of independence. So our goal should not just to be living longer. It should be to live longer in good health. So that's what we call Healthspan, as already been discussed earlier this morning. And vision really plays an incredible significant role in this. Research also shows that people with untreated vision problems like cataracts, glaucoma, or even having just a blurring of vision at far or at near means living shorter or even harder lives.
My name's Todd Crane, and I'm here on behalf of Technogym. So most people that I tell I work for Technogym usually know our brand for one of two reasons. Either it's to do with them staying in a nice hotel which has a beautiful Technogym and they've trained on our range of fitness equipment, or you get the gym enthusiasts. I live in Singapore, so it's usually someone that trains at a club like a Virgin Active or a Fitness First, and again they know all about our digital ecosystem and our advanced range of fitness products. But what I do has nothing to do with fitness clubs or hotels. I oversee a market that incorporates the healthcare market for our partners in 11 countries all around the Asia Pacific.
It would have been really nice to be out in Singapore with you all and do this in person, but just given circumstances, we'll have to do this virtually. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal time today. I looked at the lineup. It looked just amazing. And I'm sure there's a lot of fun things to learn. I'm a sleep medicine physician, pulmonary physician. I think in Singapore they maybe call him a respirologist, perhaps. Also a intensivist, a critical care medicine physician, and my baseline training is that of an internist. So I've had the opportunity to learn a variety of different things, and I've also been to get to train with some of the most amazing people in the world. I did my residency at UCLA in California. I did my pulmonary critical care fellowship at Loma Linda University. It's a big sort of a wellness hub. And then I had the opportunity to do my sleep medicine training in Boston at Harvard. And a lot of what I'll be sharing with you is like a culmination of all of the things that I've learned over time. Understand. So how do we optimize our sleep? The way I'm going to invite you to think about this is through the lens of either we need to optimize physiology or we need to mitigate pathology. And what does that mean? That means that if someone has sleep apnea, we want to address that and optimize that, or any other sleep disorder. And we would do that with any medical grade device. Or we want to optimize physiology, and that can be done either using medical grade devices or these pretty cool exercise, nutrition, and mental health. And sleep can be optimized for anybody. The only thing is it needs to be tracked using some kind of a device. And then we make iterative changes over a period of time, sort of these controlled experiments, to then understand what works, what doesn't work, so that this can be optimized over 3 to 6 months. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. Again, I missed being in Singapore. We just quick, plug to Empower Sleep. We just launched a Instagram and YouTube channel, so please do follow us.
My name is Melissa Kyneth. I'm a board-certified laboratory geneticist with a PhD in molecular biology and genomics. I'm also the head of clinical science and medical affairs at True Diagnostic. Today, I'm going to be talking with you about one of the most exciting frontiers in longevity biology, which is DNA methylation and the biology of aging. At True Diagnostic, our focus is on epigenetics, how chemical changes in DNA, particularly methylation, can serve as a biological record of how we've lived and what we've been exposed to, and ultimately how fast we're aging. One of the most important ways those ingredients or instructions are written is through a process called DNA methylation. and that's what allows us to measure and map the biology of aging. This is the DNA, or our DNA, encodes certain proteins. We get a neuron, but if it encodes others, we end up with a fibroblast. The neuron on the left in this picture has the same exact DNA code as the fibroblast on the right, but their epigenetics are what differs.
Fossil Global City, advancing strategies for healthier and longer lives through cold plunges, rituals, and tools to help you show up better, with a mission centered on extending vitality through science and innovation. Let us welcome Mr. David Jacob as he shares on advancing human longevity. So we will be Driven Human Performance Lab as an Ironman certified triathlon coach and pioneer of lactate, VO2 max, and dynamic bike fitting. He has held over 2,000 performance tests. To share more on that, let us welcome Mr. Don Velasco.
This is Coach Don Velasco. I'm really sorry I couldn't be there with you, but I'm here with you in spirit, and I'm also here to give you a little talk about how you can improve your performance with the science. Now, for 13 years already, but my main focus really is helping athletes perform in my lab. So this is a way for me to help athletes prepare for certain events or just get fitter in general. Slides. So this is called blood lactate testing. And the reason why we do this is because we want to see how your body responds to intensity.
AD supplementation. We own and operate a CGMP manufacturing facility in Melbourne, Australia, which is TGA licensed and has state-of-the-art equipment, including freeze-drying, tableting, encapsulation, and packaging machinery. Our longevity and Healthspan products are advised by global longevity expert, Professor Brian Kennedy, who's a world-renowned prominent scientist and researcher in the biology of aging, has over 300 peer-reviewed journal articles in high-impact journals, is the director of the Centre for Healthy Longevity at the National University of Singapore, where he's also a distinguished professor there, and was formerly the president and CEO of the lingual delivery technology. Is unique because it combines a patented wafer matrix technology and a proprietary freeze-drying manufacturing process.
Environment, like an acidic environment or a hypoxic environment. So these therapies are very sophisticated and very specific these days. And that book covers all of it. This book is a book written for average people about gene therapy, what the gene therapies that we offer, what they do. It explains in easy terms to understand about all the various gene therapies and what each one does to your body, the effects and how it does it. And then this book is about Klotho. Klotho is a very, very important gene, Klotho alpha. This book covers, it's like the Klotho Bible, it covers in great detail Klotho. You'll see a lot about Klotho coming up in the next this year and coming up the next few years. What is gene therapy? Gene therapy is where we we alter the genetic material by adding there's several ways to do it, but basically we change the genetic material in the body to treat a disease, to modify your DNA so that you're less ill or you're younger, in this case, or more functional. We can add a gene, we can modulate a gene, turn it up, turn it down, and we tailor a lot of this to the patient's actual genes sometimes. The longevity gene therapy is pretty generic, in other words, it applies to just about everybody, but in the congenital and the cancer, it's very specific to that person. Now, we build these genes in the lab. They are identical to the genes that are in your body, and you have a copy of this gene in your body, but over time, as you aging essentially at its core is a drop in the efficiency of your genes. When you're born, they function at 100%, and when you die, they're at 0. But in between that time, their gene.
Now with 4 branches in the Philippines, Since 2011, she has championed regenerative medicine, men's health, and lifestyle medicine, shaping the future of longevity care. A graduate of the Harvard Leadership in Medicine program, she continues to push boundaries in science and healthcare. Ladies and gentlemen, the founder and creator of the Live Forever Summit, Dr. Quincy Raya.
So, good afternoon, everyone. And before we close today's program, because I'm the last speaker, don't forget to stay for our panel. We will be talking about everything this afternoon, and we do have a raffle for the secretoms worth 350,000 pesos. That's around 6,000 Singapore dollars, I think. So, stem cells. You know, we hear about stem cells from Instagram Medicine, Facebook MD. Sorry, that's how I like to call it. But what are stem cells? Basically, they are the cells where all your cells, tissue, and organ stem from. That's the easiest way. But if you see this, we are not newts. Regeneration of limbs in newts are caused by stem cells. When we were born, we were actually a ball of stem cells. When your father's sperm and your mother's ovum fertilized, you are what you call a 128 cell stem cell called blastocyst. So if you see here, this is an embryo and this is the blastocyst. I know it's too technical, but that's where we get embryonic stem cells, which gets the flack for being unethical. But we don't make embryos just to make stem cells. There's over 100,000 embryos disposed from IVF clinics. And of course, we just use it because it's already there, right? Now, as you grew from a 128 cell blastocyst, you become an embryo, you become a fetus. That fetus is nourished from your mother's oxygen, what she eats, right? Through the umbilical cord. So you're connected to your mother with the umbilical cord. That cord is rich in stem cells. And in fact, I see my patients here who bank the umbilical cord blood and tissue. Good on you, because those cells and tissues are rich in stem cells. So here, proud to share, if you see the pictures with our clinic logo, we cultured those stem cells ourselves. So Google, thank you for this, and this, but these are the stem cells that we've cultured in our partner lab in Singapore, and we've been successful a few months ago to expand stem cells from umbilical cord and tissue. So these are actual mesenchymal stem cells from umbilical cord blood. Now, as you grow to become an adult, from a developing fetus from your umbilical cord tissue, these are bone marrow mesenchymal stem cells. So an adult you now still have stem cells, but as you age, with poor lifestyle, you potentially got sick with COVID, so your immune function is not as optimal as it can be. As robust as younger stem cells, but they still work. So now we go back to embryonic stem cells. They are pluripotent. They have the potential to become any or all cells in your body. But we cannot study more than what we have. Now, our lab in Singapore is able to program adult stem cells to behave like embryonic stem cells. Now it's called induced pluripotent stem cells. So we can make adult stem cells behave like embryonic stem cells today. But we didn't develop this technology. Yamanaka 10 years ago in Japan discovered that way to reprogram adult stem cells to behave like embryonic stem cells, now called iPSC. Now you're like, what am I going to do with that? It's induced pluripotent. You add signals that these iPSCs can behave like cells that you might need for a particular condition. For example, type 1 diabetes have dysfunctional pancreas. Pancreas is that organ in your abdomen that creates insulin to control sugar as you eat your donut, for example. So patients with type 1 diabetes are unable to produce insulin, while patients with type 2 diabetes have insulin sensitivity. Two different things. So now we're developing we have programmed pancreatic beta cells from induced pluripotent stem cells in our laboratory today. Can it be injected to a patient with type 1 diabetes? It's not allowed in anywhere in the world, but we are doing human trials in China. So we go back to stem cells. They have two special qualities beyond their more special qualities. They self-renew, they can make more of themselves, or as mentioned earlier, the icing on the cake. But don't eat the cake because you might have diabetes. So as you'll notice, we didn't have cake in our dessert today, right? So it's not just stem cells that is covered by regenerative medicine. If you've heard about PRP or platelet-rich plasma, which we can inject into the knee to repair osteoarthritis, that's also regenerative medicine. Gene therapy is also part of regenerative medicine, as well as natural killer cells, which I'll be mentioning later. So I mentioned the two basic characteristics of stem cells. These are the more specialized characteristics of stem cells. Number one, paracrine. If you place stem cells in a particular location, the closest area that needs repaired will most likely be physiologically repaired. Immunoprivileged, cultured or programmed stem cells are devoid of rejection factors. Those are the stem cells that you'll be looking for. Cell-mediated immunomodulation, a bit technical. I'll jump to the second one because they're related. Molecular-mediated cellular repair. So molecules are smaller than cells. They actually repair down to that integral level of your cell, tissue, or your body. So for example, the more famous conditions that stem cells treat today would be Alzheimer's disease, and one of our studies is for autism. I'm sure you've heard of autism. Basically, in autism, the connections between the brain cells, they are not connected. There's that divide. Now, stem cells with secretomes, as you've heard earlier, can be used as a therapy to help repair these connections. So that's actually a neuroprotection and restoration of functional neurologic circuitry in autism. And that's just one of the super specialized qualities of stem cells. The different routes, almost you can give it in every type of route. Now, I'm asked, so are stem cells legal in the Philippines? Are they available? They've been done in the Philippines for hematopoietic cancers for close to 20 years. So they've been there, but they're not called stem cell therapy. They were not called stem cell therapy. They were called hematopoietic cell therapy for lymphoma, leukemia. It's available in a few tertiary hospitals in the Philippines. That's just one type of therapy that you can use them for, hematopoietic stem cell transplantation. Now recently, the word stem came up between hematopoietic and cell because it is a treatment that's derived from stem cells from the bone marrow. So it's available and it's legal. Now when you reprogram this hematopoietic stem cell, it can actually produce T-cell therapy, which is not available in the Philippines. It's available in Singapore, in Israel, in the US for about $200,000 to $500,000. It's effective for treating lymphoma and leukemia. Also, nothing new, It's used in orthopedic conditions. This is very technical, but it's a vascular necrosis of the femoral head. So quickly to explain it, basically you lose blood supply to the head of your large part of your leg due to trauma, due to infection. These mesenchymal stem cells are injected to this part of your hip, and it revives the head of your femur, the big part of your leg, that bone, right? So, nothing new, really. We know that it works. Oh, I love this. We injected amniotic cell-derived stem cell from a laboratory in Bangkok, not my stem cell, but as you can see, this is a 52-year-old female after 6 months. That looks quite... That's not me. I'm not 52. I'm very thankful for them because this journey led me here. I didn't wake up one morning and think, let's do stem cell therapy, let's make money. Kind of unethical, right? A laboratory in Heidelberg, in Germany. So we were culturing mesenchymal stem cells from the skin. So you take a biopsy, sit there, put it in a reagent, and so they said, you should treat patients with autism, with stem cells. I was like, I don't treat children, I'm not a pediatrician. You know, I'm just a functional medicine, regenerative medicine doctor. They're like, yeah, but they've been doing it in Panama. And I was like, okay, let's work with this. Communicated with the developmental pediatrician, who are supposed to be the specialists for autism, right? And I called up my contacts in the US and they said, we have a program for autism here. It's an ethically reviewed study for autism using mesenchymal stem cells that they've been doing in South America and in Europe. So consulted with them, and basically we did give the patient stem cells intravenously together with Secretol from Kurt. And if there's any doctor in the room, but you know, you can read this. Before the stem cell therapy, this was the patient's assessment: poor interaction, with fleeting and occasional eye contact, cannot carry a conversation. And then a year after, the patient has good social interaction, good consistent response to name calling, was seated during the whole session, cooperative. So you can see the improvement and equal. All the therapies that were done were the same. Adaptive personal communication, motor and cognitive. After a year, it was a different testing algorithm, because she was 8 years old. She was at 3rd grade, and you can see the improvement here. Everything was average from here. They were all delayed except for one in motor. Legally approved in that territory. And another challenge is, of course, you have your conventional medicine doctors who will tell you they don't work, where is it coming from? You know, I like to say the statement, you know, when you see a pig fly, it flies. I don't need 1,000 pigs to fly, idiomatic expression. So if it worked for a few of my patients, I don't need 10,000 patients, because I'm not even sure if I live long enough to have 10,000 stem cell patients, right? So I've received a few stem cell infusions myself. All the laboratories I've worked with give it to me, right? And age reversal, we've been talking about it, or increasing lifespan, right? With biohackers, you talk about how young you are, and we say -1, -7. I'm a -7, right? So see, I'm 46, my body age is 39, and I think with lifestyle and stem cells, that's what got me there, but you never know. So right now, research has few cases. Okay, so myth. I think I've answered this. All stem cells are sourced unethically. not necessarily true. Right now, I can take stem cells from you guys and culture it in our clinic. Oh no, in our Singapore laboratory. Stem cell therapy is illegal. Definitely illegal in Singapore if you're not part of a Ministry of Health study. In the Philippines, you need your clinic to be licensed by the DOH or the product to be approved by the FDA. When a clinic tells you that it's a cure-all, which I've heard from my patients, there are clinics that have this bold claim that is definitely a myth. There are cases that it won't work. For example, chronic kidney disease, stage 5. But in the future, we're working with a US and an Israel partnership where we can suspend mesenchymal stem cells in a hydrogel and you inject it subcutaneously, so it's not delivered fully in your blood with high creatinine. So it delivers it in time doses. And in their cases, it has worked effectively for CKD5 patients who need dialysis with kidney function less than 15%. There is no cure for that today, but of course, I have to mention this. Gene therapy was mentioned. I'm very interested in that, and I have yet to learn a lot about it. So today, these are some of the conditions that we can treat. Currently, we're treating patients with Alzheimer's disease. We're starting a clinical series for, it's not even here, Parkinson's disease, where we can deliver mesenchymal stem cells up through the nose with no injections because it can be absorbed by your brain through that. So, stem cell for regeneration is not a myth. There is some truth to it. As long as you intelligently know the source of your stem cells, you trust the physician or clinic that you want to work with, and do your research not just from Instagram or Facebook, but talk to people who have tried the therapy. It's not for everyone. So it is possible with us, but we never market in social media or just unethically, because we just get patients from word of mouth. When we say you live forever, we don't necessarily mean that your bodies will live forever. It means that if you live a life with good lifestyle modifications, and we heard that from everyone today, a balanced diet, movement, stress management, having community engagement, having a sense of purpose, and potentially using what I always say, icing on the cake, gene therapy, stem cell therapy, which you should consider intelligently, right? And of course, there are supplementations that may work, like NAD+. And yes, announcing we're opening our 4th branch. If you want to join us, we are really looking at lifestyle modification there, not just stem cell therapy. My practice started in men's and women's health and weight management. And of course, we will be launching gene therapy in the Philippines with Dr. Patrick Sewell. This is a tall task that I have to speak after a lecturer in Stanford and Yale. You know, because for questions, let's assemble the panel. And here today, conviction, because everything we have seen and heard proves one thing, that regeneration is no longer a theory, increasing health span is no longer a dream. It is the future we're all building together. Since my journey in 2011 with regenerative medicine, this has taught me that progress is not made alone. It is made when people come together, like today, when ideas converge, and when courage outweighs doubts and challenges. What we have started here today does not end when we leave this theater. It lives on in the research we pursue, the patients we heal, the generations who will benefit from the choices we made now. Let us remember, we're not only extending time, we are transforming what it means to live for us and our children. We are not waiting for the future. We are creating it and we're doing it together. The age of regeneration is here. The journey to forever and our legacy starts with all of us. Thank you, and I hope to see you next year in Live Forever Summit 2026. Thank you, thank you.
Warm round of applause.